All right, everybody, welcome back to Means No Ball, episode 27 of Bean Talk. Thank you guys for joining us on this Thursday. And, well, hey, Christian, let's just get it started with some news. I don't know if you want to just open up with this. I think one of the bigger things, got to talk about Big Kirko, man.
Yeah, so obviously, look, we talked to I think I brought it up right in the video about
Yeah,
him
that was,
possibly
we had a
literally
nice
right
little
after.
tangent to close the
Yeah,
video last week. Yeah.
literally right after that notification, Kirk goes bench for Michael Penix. So Michael Penix, he's going to be closing out as the starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. Kind of a little funny. I think he mentioned he was on Costco with his girl when he got the news. When he got the news there, so a little funny thing about that there too. But yeah, this was kind of the one thing. I guess we were kind of expecting. I know I went off of my thing about Kirk. I know the both of us going right there too, but I think it's the best situation for this Atlanta Falcons team right now if they still want a shot. And making a trip to this playoffs this season there too. Because look, we already saw the steep decline this whole team had with Kirk going 0-8 before coming into this Raiders game, 0-8 touchdown interception ratio. It just wasn't looking good for this Falcons team. Nothing was clicking on offense. Not even the run game with Bijan could even help them. This defense, coming into this season, this defense had a lot of high praise, a lot of high hopes. It had a high ceiling, especially with me. I expect this defense to be one of the top in the league there, but it's been really depleted there. Kirk's not really been active there too. And Michael Penix, he's gonna close out for the season, and we're gonna see what he's gonna be capable of. These last couple of games, it's gonna be very crucial. We're still in December. We haven't been mentioning it lately, but it's December football. There's gonna be a lot of spoiler play. There's gonna be a lot of interactions going on, specifically with the NFC. There, we see how the Bucks, they're really high on top with the NFC card race. We know the Rams, they're trying to make that run spot to the 3 seed there. And so now with the Falcons there, they got the game up. They're still, they're still in the race there, but we're gonna see.
No, but
Michael
let's not
Penix
forget. Looking at the Buccaneers, I think it's fair to say that they're going to be the Falcons are pretty much out of the race. We look at the Falcons. At the Buccaneers, as much as sure they still have a shot and everything. Look at the Buccaneers schedule. I think they got they got your Cowboys, the Panthers, and close out with the Saints. We could both agree that that's a pretty favorable schedule. They're probably going to win out, and they're probably going to take the 3 seed. It looks bad for my Rams that they're, even if we end up winning the division, we're probably going to be stuck with the 4 seed. But just in general, that slump, it's those 4 games where he went 0-for-8 on touchdowns to interceptions that really tanked the season.
Yeah, that was just really the fun. And there's those couple of games there where they should have been, an Atlanta Falcons. It should have been a win for them. And what happens? Those little losses that they're really gonna bite you back in the butt. Come January when it comes to playoff time for those seeding positions there. But like you said, there with the Bucks and other things going there, I guess you're gonna see what Michael Penix has to do there. And if the Falcons do end decide, if the tenure with Kirk is done, I believe trading him leaves about 30, a little over 35.
But the thing is, who's
dead
going
money.
to take on that?
That's what I'm
Who's
saying.
going to take on
They're
that
going to
money?
leave over 35 in dead money, and then an immediate release is going to be over 60 million in dead money. So it's lose-lose. You're going to have dead money regardless, but at least a trade with a team at least saves half of that. Which sure, it's you still want to have more cash and you want there, but at the end of the day, it's still dead money, right? 30 million plus in dead money there, so it's obviously still going to be a bad spot for this Falcons team. But and got to ride out with Penix, and we see with Penix, the one thing coming into this draft was his age. What is he, like 23, 24 years old? Around
Which,
there.
at the end of the day, that's kind of the time that you would want your quarterback to be starting.
Yeah.
The only thing is he doesn't have, NFL experience before. But that's the argument we could say about all these quarterbacks. Look at Bo Nix. He was like a 6 year,
yeah.
and Bo Nix was a
24 years
6 year starter from Auburn and Oregon. And look at him now. He's neck and neck in the Rookie of the Year conversation. Anything can happen if you have the talent there. If you have the build to make it as an NFL quarterback, your age really does not matter at the end of the day. And if Penix is built for this offense, he's going to succeed.
Yeah, with that as out there, look, get the last 2 games that are going on in there, so we're gonna have to see what it goes from there too. And I guess a little side part, since we are talking about the Buccaneers, Mike Evans, he is just I believe just under 300 yards shy of keeping his streak going for the 1,000 yards season. He's currently at 749 there. Just to keep just for the
Which a point that
he's gonna get it.
I'll
He's
make.
gonna get it.
No, yeah, I absolutely think he's gonna get it. We talked about this when it was close. We were kind of pushing for, assuming he would get it. But this is just looking back 2 games ago when I believe he had that 5 games, 500 yards to go, possibly still had that. He pulled I think a 50-60 yard shooter when I bet on him. But then, of course, last week he has like what 150, 160 to put
Yeah,
himself
he
right
went
back
off.
on track.
He
Yeah,
went. He
absolutely.
needs. Yeah, he needs 251. I mean, he's going against the cow. He's
In
going
three
against the
games,
cow. Yeah,
absolutely.
in 3 games, especially look, he's gonna get majority of yards against this Cowboys, especially with the Diggler's Cowboys. Bland still, he's looking okay, but not to the best. But outside of Bland, we got a bunch of guys outside of J. Lou and Bland. I'm hoping they can hold us of Mike Evans, but it's Mike Evans. He's for sure gonna get at least a good amount there against that Cowboys secondary, especially the way they've been doing it there. They look good against Carolina, but this is a Buccaneers team that they're way, way better than what they look for there. So he's for sure gonna get it. He's gonna keep the streak going. So hopefully he does. So you're gonna tie up the record, Jerry Rice's record for 11 consecutive 1,000 yard seasons. So that'll be tied, and hopefully breaks the
No,
record
absolutely.
again next season there.
With
But
how
just a
with
little
how Baker's looking, this offense in general
Exactly.
looking, you can absolutely expect him to come off firing and get it next season. Unless, I guess, age gets up there. Is it gonna
Yeah.
come to factor? We've been saying about Mike Evans for years now, though. He's not slowing down yet.
He's not. I mean, I mentioned it before. He's one of the most consistent players in the league at his receiver position.
Absolutely.
He's never had a slump there. Outside of like a couple years ago where he just barely hit that 1,000 yard mark. I believe it was 1,007, 1,008 yards because he did miss some games due to injury there. It's gonna be the same with this season. He missed some
And he
games
did
with
this
injury.
year, yeah.
And exactly, he's doing it right once again there, and it just shows you the strength of Mike Evans there. This age, he's 31. I mean, it's still a pretty decent age for a wide receiver, but with the numbers he's putting up at that age, it's just phenomenal there. Without a doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, just enjoy him while we can. Obviously, a lot of that generation of wide receivers, and we've
Yeah.
already lost so many from our youth that he's one of those last couple that's still there from when we really started getting back into football. So, I mean,
And he's
like
balling.
I said, absolutely, and just enjoy this. I mean, he's still, we could still call it still in that prime of his career. Just enjoy all that while we can. But we can get into another point. Just came out this morning. I mean, hey, let's just double down on the dysfunction of the New York Jets right now. I mean, their owner, Woody Johnson, I mean, just new report after new report, and this one's got to be one of the stupidest ones that I've seen. They could have traded for Jerry Jeudy this offseason, but they didn't because of his Madden rating, of all things. I don't know if you got into looking at
I
this
saw
stuff.
some. I was getting ready, and I saw something like that. I was gonna look more into it there, but I'm just like, we'll save it for the video. Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna base, players based off Madden ratings, I don't think he should be a GM.
Mind you, it's just
And
Chad Ochocinco crunching these numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's freaking Unk just doing this, right? He's really just deciding like, all right, let's give him a good 80 overall. And Woody John's like, no. We're not doing that. I mean, it's easier said than done. He should not be the GM there, but
Well, I mean,
I was lost of words.
Here's the thing. I mean, he
Yeah.
gets
Oh,
his,
the owner. Excuse me. Yeah,
yeah,
Woody John. Yeah, the
which,
owner. Yeah.
okay, but that's the thing. Like, I appreciate an owner like wanting to be involved with the team, but there's a point where you just have to just take a step back and just start writing the checks.
It's not even just being the main guy. I'm just like, okay, here's your check. It's not even that. It's just being logical and at least using a little bit of common sense.
But like, if we're being honest, why is he the one making these decisions? Because we also remember that point a couple weeks ago that he was the one floating around. Should we bench Aaron Rodgers? That's not even your decision. That should be more between the GM and Coach Saleh at that point.
Yeah, I don't know, like, bro, trying to be Jerry Jones or something. I don't know what he's trying to do, but that was pretty stupid. And look at Judy. He's finally thriving. What we expected him to thrive since he's been drafted. He's
in a
finally having
dysfunctional offense.
Yeah, exactly. No quarterback, and the O-line's chopped up. He's basically is the one option outside of Elijah Moore. He's having a career year for himself. Obviously it's a down year for another horrible down year for the whole Browns team, but he's looking like a bright spot, a really, really great bright spot there. We're gonna have to see. I mean, I would expect the Browns to retain him, build for next season, unless he's gonna.
I wouldn't be surprised if he starts asking for a trade and
That's what I'm saying.
moves himself into a contender. Which, I mean, if we're gonna backtrack this, I mean, wasn't this one of the guys that you were really hoping the Cowboys would try to make a push for?
Yes, this was literally.
If we look back into that Judy
agency.
trade video, I think you went on another little rant on why Jerry didn't make a move.
Yeah, now that it clicks in, I think Judy was another guy that I would have wanted in that core, and he would have had a resurgence, with that receiving in there, because outside of CD, you would have him and then Cooks. Probably Judy would probably be at
Which we
3.
did. I mean, yeah, if we're gonna look into
Yeah.
the Cowboys offense, I mean, outside of a CD, no one really stepped up. I mean, I know Cooks was out with that injury for a while. I mean, I guess
Hmm.
we've seen like a nice little bit of development from Turpin and obviously forget Tolbert. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's had a couple good games here and there, but no one's really been that like true number two option. And if
Yeah.
you guys would have
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
Jerry Judy, who knows what could have been this season.
Yeah, exactly. Even from last season, outside of CD, Dak's pretty much got to force the ball to whoever. I mean, Cooks had his little resurgence towards the end of the season. Turpin, Tolbert, these other guys, they're finally stepping up in the season. A little too late there, right? But, Judy, obviously, he's finally looking like a viable, I'm going to say receiver two, right? I don't know yet about a receiver one yet, but without for sure, as a receiver two, he'd probably be good. I know he's been the one option for the Browns there too, having a nice year there, but I think on another top contending team like that, receiver two,
Yeah,
he'd probably put
absolutely.
up the same amount of numbers without a doubt for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I mean, just popped into my head now. I wasn't even thinking about this, but the Deontay situation, just we were talking about, possible number two options.
Yeah.
We already got into this so much. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago on,
I
the
think we
whole.
I think we got it in I think it was one of the last week's Beam Talk. Yeah, I think it was last
It
week's
was,
Beam
I
Talk.
want to say it was last
Yeah.
week that,
Yeah.
the whole situation that he didn't want to go into that Eagles game. Now he's gone. Now he's released.
Yeah, they released them this week actually. I'm thinking Monday,
Yeah,
Tuesday.
I want to say, I think right after or I think we probably just forgot to
It
talk
was
about in the
after
video.
the
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
when we were walking out of
After
our
the final.
the philosophy
After
final.
the
Yeah, yeah.
first final, yeah. Yeah, everything was building up. I think first was part of the Ravens are excusing him for all Ravens just activities, practices, meetings, whatever it is there. And then I think like a couple, I don't even know, it was a couple of minutes after or couple hours after, but there you go. Deontay Johnson released and everything's gone from there too. So it was just a really, really bad situation for Deontay Johnson when he got to go. I mean, he finally leaves Carolina to go to a contending team. And, the coach coming out, John Harbaugh, saying, Johnson, he's going to get more targets. We're going to get him the ball. But, I mean, it's kind of hard to get him the ball when, you have a really big guy in the backfield like Derrick Henry who's getting fed, really pushing the momentum for this offense there. Mark Andrews finally having a little bit of resurgence there. And same with Zay Flowers having another great year for him too. Could you watch the film? Maybe see
I mean, you could have absolutely used him. I mean, I
Mhm.
definitely think, he wasn't used well, and he has his own reasons to be upset. He probably went about it a completely wrong way, but I mean, I understand him. You're traded to a contender who, let's be honest, at the point when he was traded, they did need some help at the receiving positions. Zay Flowers wasn't really at that point. They weren't even using the receiving game that well. I mean, now obviously we've seen last game, Lamar has 5 passing touchdowns. This offense really looks reinvigorated, but I would have expected him to have a more of an impact, and they should have used him more of an impact. And now the more I look at this, the more we look back at the whole situation where the Steelers trading him to Carolina, which that was a bonehead move in my opinion to begin with. And sure, they picked up Mike Williams, but imagine having Deontay, and I know this was a topic we talked about since the trade deadline or even before this. Imagine if Deontay Johnson in that Steelers offense right now, which they look so bleak without Pickens at this point.
Yeah, and now let's keep it in the same topic with Don Johnson and the Ravens release him. Same thing with Devondre Campbell. Finally, the Niners, they cleared out his stuff, and more recent news suspending him for the next 3 games as well as there too. Obviously, this whole organization really just ripped it through. I mean, Tredavious Ward, he had his thoughts on him. I mean, even Debo, he decided to go in the mix there. Same with George Kittle from the same there too. But this is it's really disappointing to see as a player like this too. I mean, especially in the linebacker position. I mean, Fred Warner, he finally, was it Fred Warner or was it Darrisaw that came back to this game?
I'm
I lost focus.
Javon
Hargrave,
Hargrave, the
Javon
Achilles in the
excuse
Super
me,
Bowl.
yeah, you see Hargrave, he comes back, he had a great game, obviously coming from, all that adversity. And then you got another guy on the other side, Devondre Campbell, who just didn't want to play, right? He didn't want to play, and it's not, I know we touched on it.
And his
more
reasoning
there,
was
too.
stupid that
Yeah.
he got demoted to a bench role because your
Mhm.
all pro just came
Yeah.
back from an injury. Like you're gonna take a step back.
Exactly, and I don't know why he got upset. Third quarter gone, right? And everyone was ripping him. And then Tredavious Ward, out of all players, he had the right to rip him. I mean, come on, he just lost his child there, and he's playing through this. He didn't play, I believe, 2-3 games. Decided to finally play in this game too, and it's not stopping. He's playing through a lot of pain. He's playing through all this, adversity he's going through, and this is real adversity from Tredavious Ward.
And with you mentioning, like, not just Tredavious Ward, let's talk,
Yeah.
the 49ers in general. I mean, hey, all hate aside for this
man.
team. Forget injuries. With everything that this team's gone through. We already see Tredavious Ward. Trent Williams had a stillborn
Oh,
child
that's
just a
true.
couple
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Hmm.
Ricky Pearsall was shot. I mean, all the adversity that this team has gone through, you would think, they're just the togetherness, everything should be, at an all-time high. But to see in a team like this for Devondre Campbell to do that, to just turn his back on his brothers, I mean, it's just unthinkable.
Yeah, but for just being butthurt, that's really just the reason there. You're just butthurt that you got demoted because you have basically two All-Pro linebackers on that roster there. If you got demoted to bench, take it. Like, there's no necessary for you to tell the trainers, yeah, I don't want to play. I'm a little salty. I'm a little butthurt. Let's go. All right. Now you already got Kyle Shanahan even ripping him too. That was a mistake. Signing him there. This was just a couple hours ago there too. So this again, the Niners team, it's already been through a lot there. This really just adds more salt to the wound.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the opponent last week, with my Rams, one last point that I do want to get into before we, close this out with the Thursday nighter. We got a big piece coming back this week in Tyler Higbee. Now, obviously, he's been out since that wild card game, tore that ACL with the dirty bitch Kirby Joseph. I'm still gonna have my hate for him, but yeah, he's finally back, and we finally get some revitalization into the tight end role. Obviously, Hunter Long, Davis Allen really haven't done much. I mean, Colby Parkinson was expected to have such a big role as we signed him from Seattle, and he's had his moments. Don't get me wrong. I'm been excited. I just expected a lot more out of him, and finally seeing Higbee to come back, it gives me a lot of hope. I mean, we know McVay loves that tight end option. He loves using tight ends. Hasn't been able to without him. Now he finally gets that favorite target. I mean, Higbee's been, statistically the best tight end in Rams history. And to finally get him back, I mean, Stafford loved him too throughout the time that he has been able to use him. Feels like a really good opportunity against a struggling Jets team to try to get him back into the mix.
Yeah, especially with playoff implications, in the mix here too with your Rams. They're finally nice to see, guys finally adding another weapon, especially on the tight end position. There's never really, like you mentioned, never really been another tight end outside of Higbee to really live up to that spot for the past couple of years there too. So finally nice to see outside of Kupp and Puka, is finally getting another big top
finally getting
like
a viable option to be that check down that we really expect how McVay has used tight ends in the past as, a little longer range option that you would sometimes tight ends. I mean, closer to maybe what the Chiefs use Kelsey. And I'm not going to compare him to Kelsey. That's a little different story, but he's our little Kelsey.
Yeah, exactly right then and there. So we're going to probably expect, McVay to open up just that pass playbook just a little bit more there, right? And now finally closing off with today's Thursday nighter, and it's going to be a good one. The Broncos and the Chargers there. The Chargers, they've had a little slump the past two games with their defense there, especially this Bugs game where Baker and Mike Evans, they just absolutely wreaked havoc, throughout that whole game there. That pass connection really got to them there. And the Chargers defense, it's one of the top in the league there. And, teams, they're finding, that weak spot there. They're just forcing the ball down the throats of the Chargers D, just straight passing that ball. The run game's finally getting to them. And we're going to see how they're going to be able to stop this Broncos team. Now, this Broncos team with Bo Nix, he's having a really, really good year for himself, stepping up to all the media hate that's been going on with him. And his connection with him and Courtland Sutton, it's been really, really connecting the past couple of weeks there. So the Broncos, if they're able to, get the pass game going early, specifically towards that, pass game early to this Chargers team, it's going to be hell for them too, especially in that run game with McLaughlin as well there too. And I think
Javonte
not good
Williams too.
Javonte Williams, that's it.
Yeah.
That 1-2 punch, get it.
Which
early
it has been
team.
a little lackluster as of late.
It's been a little lack.
I would expect them to start using him a little more, and maybe would have thought about that, but I was just saying he's not included in my parlay, so we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I mean, I would expect them to use him a little more, but I'm more expecting Bo Nix to really thrive. I mean, we see the Chargers defense is really, they're reeling off of that rough loss, and you would think, maybe this is a game that they could, get themselves back in it. Obviously, Bo Nix threw 3 interceptions last week. I see Bo Nix being the one to bounce back, and I'll say it now. You could throw yours in right now. I'm gonna take the Broncos in this one. I'm just expecting, when we look at these two teams, two great defenses and two offenses that kind of been struggling. They have so much potential, but we've seen the struggles more so with the Chargers, and that's why when I'm looking at this, I think Bo Nix could possibly take advantage of a now struggling Chargers defense. And with Herbert, he really hasn't been able to take advantage of some, I guess, above average from what we expected play from the receivers, aside from maybe Quentin Johnston. Going against, a defense that just absolutely killed the Colts last week. I don't see Herbert getting over that hump, and I see Bo Nix being the one to outplay him.
Yeah, well, we got early on disagreement there. I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one. I think this is the get right game for Herbert and this Chargers team. I mean, going on a 2-game losing streak, which really should have been a thought to seeing that. A lot of implications now with the seeding. See what's going to be happening. Who they're going to play there. So
Yeah, a loss here probably kicks them out of the playoff picture for the Chargers.
Yeah, I think too. And not even the Chargers, even the Broncos. A lot of playoff implication at stake for both these teams right here too. But I think this is a get right game for Herbert, especially the past 2 games there. I think this defense, like I said with this defense, it's been a little choppy. It's been a little slump. But I think this is going to be the wake-up call for them, and they got to contain this whole Broncos team, specifically Bo Nix, right? If you're letting him get hot, it's going to be really hard for the Chargers to stop him. And like you said with McLaughlin and Javonte Williams, if they're going to start utilizing them correctly and they finally get going, it's obviously, like I said, it's going to be hell for that defense. But like I said, This is going to be a get-right for game for them, especially.
Just that I mentioned with the Broncos, we also look at the Chargers if we're going to look at the run game. No J.K. Dobbins that we know. I think he's going to be back next week, but, he's not here this week. And Gus Edwards has been lackluster. So we also look at the comparison on who could possibly win that run battle. I would also have to give that to the Broncos here.
Yeah, I mean, you just got 2 guys, without a doubt, like I said, with McLaughlin and with Williams, you got 2 viable running backs at that option there. As for the Chargers, you pretty much just have Gus Edwards there. Now, we're just going to see if Jim Harbaugh, if he's going to utilize that run game more, see if they're going to get Gus Edwards, the ball a little bit early there, get the run game going there. But like I said, I keep repeating myself. This is going to be a get-right game for this Chargers team, and they need it. This is going to be the game where they need it, especially against this really hot Broncos team.
Absolutely. And, well, let's get into the parlay right away now. Of course, I was hyping up Javonte Williams, really expecting him to have a good game. Not going to be a part of this parlay, but I do expect him to get back in the end zone if anyone wants to include that. But I expect 3 touchdowns for this Broncos offense, and 2 of those coming as passing touchdowns for Bo Nix. His demon line is set at 1.5. I'm taking that over. For receivers, I'm going to have 2 of them in here. I'm expecting both of them to get a touchdown, but the receiving yard lines seem pretty easy to go. So Troy Franklin with 17.5 and Cortland Sutton at 16.5. I'm going to take those overs.
Yeah, now coming in with mine with the Chargers picks. I got 2 demon picks on this one. So I'm going to see if these are actually going to pay out there. One of which is going to be Justin Herbert, 1.5 over on the touchdowns there for his demon picks there. So I'm going to go over that. Quentin Johnston, I was actually contemplating this one, but 37.5 receiving yards. Gonna stay safe. Hopefully those drops, they don't, come back to, bite him in the booty with this one there too. And then Ladd McConkey, he's been their one main guy coming this season, even after the injury there, still their one guy, to that rookie sensation. Ladd McConkey, gonna help Herbert a bit. Gonna have him go over 0.5 touchdowns, which is my final demon pick.
Okay, so let's hope Quentin doesn't mess up this parlay, but I think we gotta go, man. I could definitely expect a shootout going into this game and see some nice offense. Let's not forget, we were probably expecting to go to this game, but at the end of the day, wasn't really going to work out. Carbs, in large part, was a reason we weren't able to go. His ass is just not locked in right now, but I think that's going to do it for us here. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back to recap all these games for the Week 16 recap.